If this is confirmed, Trump will cease to be president today. Friend, listen to me carefully. This is very important for the future of the USA. Trump allegedly signed an agreement with extraterrestrial beings known as the Greys. This deal would allow him to obtain advanced technology, such as weapons and surveillance systems beyond imagination, in exchange for strategic natural resources, including something far more terrifying: human beings. Yes, you heard that right. Part of this pact would involve handing over certain individuals for unknown experiments. Why do you think there are so many unexplained disappearances every year in the United States? The Greys would have been using these people as part of a dark exchange benefiting the elites, with Trump leading this plan for years. But that's not all. According to leaks, the extraterrestrials are already established in underground bases beneath US territory, especially in restricted areas like Area 51 and certain regions of Alaska. These bases are said to be designed to extract materials and control certain key technologies vital for their survival. Comment your opinion in the comments to see who gets.
Why is it always in America? Why is it not the rest of the world? It just doesn't make sense. I do believe there's aliens on Earth, but I don't think they're just in America.
I'm a retired FBI agent, and this is a conspiracy theory that keeps me up at night. In 2018, a treasure hunter tipped off the FBI to a large cache of buried, stolen Civil War gold in a rural part of Elk County, Pennsylvania. Now, the story goes, this treasure hunter had been looking into this since around 2011, probably further back than that. But his research showed that during the Civil War, a secret society known as the Knights of the Golden Circle, a group that operated in the North to sabotage the Northern efforts, one of them being to steal this gold that was on its way to the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia and then hide it. Why they never went back for it, I don't know. This treasure hunter had been operating or doing his research and looking for this stuff, and he located a site that was on public land in Pennsylvania. And he was operating under the permission of the Pennsylvania Department of Conservation and Natural Resources. It's somewhere along the way, this treasure hunter and the DCNR had a falling out, and he follows this up and goes to the FBI. He told them, or however he convinced them, they took it seriously enough to hire an outside agency to go in and do some very high-tech survey of the property to see if there's any validity to this. And sure enough, this high-tech equipment revealed that there was a large mass of some kind at this site underground. And then the FBI, also using pretty high-tech equipment, determined that there was the presence of gold. They end up getting a seizure warrant through a federal judge. They get a writ of entry that gives them access to the land. They do a 3-day search for this using an excavator and all kinds of techniques, to try to locate this stuff. Very well documented, I have to say, very thoroughly documented. And they found nothing. No sign of Civil War gold, no sign that anything had been buried there. Now, currently ongoing, there's a lawsuit between this treasure hunter and the FBI. He claims that they did find something and that there's video evidence of this. I don't understand why the site survey shows presence of gold, a large mass under the ground, and then they find absolutely nothing. So stay tuned, and I'm going to fill you in on this one completely because it really.
Why are they hiding this? This is the first ever picture of Jesus. Why is he holding a wand? This is where it gets rather peculiar. In this ancient painting, discovered in the catacombs of Rome, Jesus is seen with a wand-like object saying, "This symbol holds the power of the divine." The painting dates back over 2,000 years, so why is Jesus holding something that resembles a magical wand? This is where things take a turn. Recent research suggests that this wand-like object wasn't just a symbol of divinity, but a tool of advanced technology passed down from an ancient civilization. Some researchers believe that this object represents a connection to the lost technologies from a highly advanced civilization that existed long before our mainstream timeline. Ancient texts and artifacts from various cultures depict similar wand-like tools used for healing, energy manipulation, and communication with higher realms. However, once these connections were suspected, the true story was buried to maintain the conventional narrative of history and religion. The presence of the wand in the earliest image of Jesus hints at a deeper understanding of technology and energy, possibly inherited from ancient advanced civilizations like Atlantis or Lemuria. Why are they
13 M. Why is McDonald's M everywhere? Why is that? Why subconsciously do you think of M and 13 everywhere? Because you know inside yourself, when you see that, that means you know really you're coming back again. And that's alright, and that's fine. Come back again and do it. You know what? There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with coming back again. Because there isn't anything wrong with good or bad. Come back and do it again. I just don't want to do it. I have something else to do. Numerology is very important. The Kabbalah cheats. The Kabbalistic magicians cheats. They cheated. Sephiroth cheated.
To me why the Pope has this symbol on his robes that is identical to a giant geoglyph of a humanoid looking figure in the northern desert of Chile. Like seriously, what is going on here? It's pretty common knowledge that the global elites know a lot more than they let us normies in on, but this is literally like waving it in front of our face. Like, what is this? Before anybody starts commenting saying this picture is fake or it's probably been altered or AI, no. This was posted 6 years ago in an article by The Guardian. Now, I had to scribble out a little bit of the title, but Catholic Church, children, I'm sure you can understand the context of this article. So unless The Guardian are posting pictures of the Pope with aliens on his robes for absolutely no reason and no relevance to their story, then I feel pretty comfortable in saying that this is a real image. So what kind of significance does it have to this? The Atacama Giant. This is one of the biggest geoglyphs in the world depicting a humanoid figure. It's believed to have been created between 1,000 and 1,400 years ago by ancient Incan cultures. It's over 100 meters tall and it's on the Pope's robes. Why? Like seriously, like let's move away from aliens and UFOs for a second and just, can anybody actually tell me, why does the Pope have this on his robes? It is aliens.
Can we talk about some of the famous names that people around the world would know who, in your experience, have taken part in these rituals that you've conducted? You say you've conducted them in Europe and the United States. Can we start with the United States?
Yes, I have seen at rituals, I have seen George Bush, I have seen Madeleine Albright, I have seen Henry Kissinger, I have seen Ronald Reagan, and I have also, by the way, seen his wife, Nancy Reagan. I have seen Hillary Clinton before I knew she was Hillary Clinton at the time at these rituals. She is involved. The other people that I have named I've seen shapeshift into reptilians. I have not seen Hillary Clinton actually shapeshift, but she is involved. I have seen the two sons when they were young, the two sons of George Bush present at these rituals.
Are these the sons that have become governors?
Yes, one is in Florida and one is in Texas. I have seen, did I mention Jay Rockefeller? And he shapeshifts. I've seen George Deukmejian and Ronald Reagan again, having been governor in California. There have been people.
So if this is true, then why have I never? Why have we never? Why is there no video evidence? I mean, Yeah, okay, it's all fine. I mean, it reminds me of that series V. But why is there no video evidence? I don't know. Let's go to the
What the darkest conspiracy theory about aliens is? That Earth is essentially a farm, and human beings are the vessels that contain souls, and they want us because this is how they create souls. And so they're farming us. They've created us. So we started off as primates, and through some sort of genetic intervention, I'm not saying I believe this. I'm just saying that this is like top of the food chain, put your tinfoil hat on super tight, that they farm us. And that the whole reason why human beings are involved in this conflict, constant conflict, it's all of it is to increase our competition with each other, increase our ability to control resources, which will increase our technology, which will ultimately lead to us creating this being that we're going to create. And what the darkest
Into the record, page 55 from the committee's interview with FBI employees. Just have some administrative matters first. I wanted to introduce into the record, page 55 from the committee's interview with FBI employee Roya Demlow, who I wanted to introduce into the record page 55 from the committee's interview with page 55 from the committee's interview which took place on July 17, 2023. In that.
Okay, that's freaky. That woman's not even blinking.
Which took place on July 17, 2023. In that, we're to leave this interview and we're to suggest or imply that when you said the laptop was real, that it meant that the FBI had affirmatively determined in October 2020 that the laptop belonged to Hunter Biden.
See that?
We're to leave this interview and we're to suggest or imply that when you said the laptop was real, that it meant that the FBI had affirmatively determined in October 2020 that the laptop belonged to Hunter Biden.
Now that was freaky.
The ancients were right. The Bible is right. The Quran is right. We're living in a creation. Now, the method of creation is something called a fractal holographic universal matrix. Fractal mathematics talks about the fact that they discovered this one fractal code, which is a very small mathematical formula that can create everything that exists in the known universe. And Pixar took that code and imported it into their cartoon or their animation software. They were the first ones to do it. They were able to create entire movies from one formula. The animation, the movements, the characters, the background scenes, the sky, the mountains, and all that, it's being created on the fly as the program code needs it. And they discovered that's the same exact code that's creating everything we need in this universe. The ancients were right.
Yeah, but hold on a second. If Pixar done that, how did they get the actors to do the voices? If it was recording in real time. It doesn't make sense to me.
Is down there.
Giant monsters.
And who are they and why are they here?
They're a natural defense mechanism from the planet. They've been here longer than any of us have, or since before the dinosaurs even. These are creatures that go back millions of years potentially and have been living there for a very, very long time. My personal encounter with them is they're highly intelligent, and I guarantee you a living creature that's 200 or 300 feet tall, that's, several 100,000 or 1 million years old, has a consciousness that probably defies understanding from me or you anyway.
How long have they been here?
Millions of years, probably even maybe since the beginning of the planet.
Could you give me an example of what one of these giants look like?
Sure. I've only had one personal experience that I can relate. While I have been briefed on the subject and I could describe a few other things, I only have one personal experience that I was there for, saw with my own eyes, and experienced with my own 5 senses. So if you want to imagine something that resembles a big furry primate, maybe like a sloth that walks on its hands and is covered with hair that looks like giant dreadlocks.
How tall do you think, could you estimate?
I would estimate that it was probably between 250 and 300 feet tall.
How do they grow to such an extreme size, and why aren't we not seeing them on the surface?
Well, I think we're talking about pre-primordial time, so we're talking about before the dinosaurs, when plants and animals were even larger. So I think we're just talking about they came from a time when biological life grew bigger.
Why does this movie script sound so familiar?
Okay, so the movie goes like this. The biggest drug cartels in the world get together and buy up all the media and all the politicians and force all the people in the world to stay locked in their homes, and people can only come out if they take the cartel's drugs and keep taking them over and over. I threw the script away. I mean, who was gonna believe that crazy idea? Inconceivable.
Why does this movie script sound so familiar?
Okay.
Here's what he had to say in 1996.
Who's this?
Start by secretly creating a problem in the world and making sure someone else is blamed for it in the public arena, in the public mind. It could be a run on a currency, it could be a government collapse, at its most extreme it could be a war, because the two world wars in this century were funded, all sides were funded by the same people. Provable. The same people that funded the Allies in the Second World War and funded the Soviet Union also funded Hitler. Through loans from America, known as the Young Plan and the Dawes Plan, and also via the German subsidiaries of American multinational companies. Why would they do that? Why would someone want to fund all sides in a war? What is good is a war? Well, first of all, on one level, it makes vast amounts of money if you're lending money to all sides and you're also selling them lots of arms and all that stuff. But the fundamental reason for a war is to change the nature of post-war society. And what we saw in the First World War and the Second World War were massive global examples of problem-reaction-solution. We are looking at a gigantic contrick before our eyes. We don't live in a democracy in this country or in America or in these other places. We live in a one-party state where the same force from the peak of the pyramid string pulls all sides. The creation of a one-world government to which nation-states would be principalities, administrative units, a world central bank which would administer all financial transactions on the planet, a world currency which wouldn't be coins and notes, it would be merely electronic, cashless society for which there are fundamental implications for freedom, as we'll see as we go along tonight. A world army under centralized control with nation-state armies dismantled under the justification of seeking peace, and a microchipped population linked to a global computer, the latter of which sounds bizarre to many people on first hearing, except that we are ridiculously close to it and the technology already exists. So World Health Organization says there's going to be a measles epidemic next year. Get vaccinated. Get your children vaccinated. You're a bad parent if you don't. Then the same people that organize that then start flogging out the vaccine and make a fortune out of it. So if we take one element of that under problem reaction solution, it's amazing the extent to which we have given our power away, our spiritual power. It's all about taking our power back. Because once we do that, it's all over. In 1991, even in America, a virtually unknown governor for Arkansas called Bill Clinton was invited to the Bilderberg meeting in Baden-Baden, Germany. Within a year, this guy is successfully running for president of the United States. In 1993, another relatively unknown Labour Party Home Affairs spokesman in Britain called Tony Blair was invited to the Bilderberg meeting in Greece, along with his opponent, the Conservative Chancellor, Kenneth Clark, by the way. Within a year, Tony Blair is leader of the Labour Party and, barring a miracle, will become Prime Minister of this country.
Watch this video before it's removed from the internet.
See, my surrogate mother was Viola Armstrong. She had a son named Neil. Oh, really? As you know, the story goes, he went down to Antarctica, had a heart attack, stroke combo, and came back, and then there was stuff on the internet, and I had to look at Buzz and ask him, Buzz, what happened down there, Bud? Buzz did say one thing, and it just stuck in my head. It's the way he said it. He just said, we thought out things we shouldn't. And if Buzz saw something, I don't know what it was, but it was enough to give the man a heart attack. So if there are beings down there, I would think these beings never planned on us. They've been there, they came in millions of years ago, they've been under ice for millions of years. I don't think they were expecting us.
Let me ask, think about Buzz Aldrin, that there was this very cryptic tweet that came out during his stay down there. He said, "We have seen the faces of evil and we're all in danger." And this is right before he had his heart attack. And I can tell you, logistically, to do a medical evacuation from the interior of Antarctica is very difficult and very expensive. So something must have majorly gone wrong.
To underscore the fact that when the C-130 crew had dropped them off, they disappeared. And then when they went to try to find them, there was nothing at the National Science Foundation camp at all. Nothing.
They were
moving.
gone.
They were totally
scientists.
gone. And when they did show up, they had been missing for a couple of weeks. And Brian S. and the C-130 flight crew were then sent back. And they were expecting that they would see this group of scientists out to meet their plane, doing this, yelling, something. And he said they were lined up like birds on a wire. They were all kind of next to each other, and most of them had their heads down, looking at their feet when the C-130 was pulling up. And that somebody had to go from the flight crew over to the scientists and direct them to get onto the plane. And they talked about how not one single scientist said one word. Most of them walked with their looking down at the ground. Brian said when they got them loaded up, he said to his flight chief, "What in the world? Where have they been?" And the flight chief said, "I don't know, we can't get a word out of them." And during the flight, Brian went and sat down next to one of the scientists, and he said he leaned over and touched the scientist's knee, and the man never looked up. And he said, it was as if we were dealing with 12 or 15 people who had suffered post-traumatic shock syndrome, that they were unnaturally frozen in their position and no speaking, and that they all looked afraid. That one of the SEALs that I have talked to that is not in the video said that as they walked for a mile or 2 miles into these very strange created architectures, they reached a point where something started coming through the walls out into the air. At first, it would go in and out of visibility, and then they realized that their minds were being manipulated. And then when they could see it clearly, and it was coming in and out like a television signal in the air, it appeared to be covered with scales, like an armadillo, the surface of an armadillo. And he said, when you are face to face with something like that, and you are trained in military to kill, but you're dealing with something you've never seen, and it can go in and out of visibility, and you know that your mind is being taken over by something that you are fighting. He said that happened in one of those corridors, and that was 2012.
Watch this video before it's removed.